Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to finish out this week for multiple vocal singers with a collab song, which is pretty cool. It kind of breaks the norm a bit. All this week, we've checked out bands that have multiple singers in them, and this is actually two bands playing with each other. Before we get into this, I just want to remind everybody, if they could, to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. It's an easy way to help support the channel and helps me with YouTube's algorithm. So, I mentioned that this is probably going to work well with my personal music tastes in the past couple of videos, and that is because this band looks so 2000s emo, it is not funny. Not to mention, my boy there on the right hand side, he used to be the guitarist from First to Last. He ended up being a lead singer for Human Abstract. I greatly enjoy his works, so yeah, I think this is going to be right up my alley. And yeah, let's get into this. Yeah, so we got 4 singers at least already. Five. Yeah, we got a nice post-hardcore breakdown here. Lots of dissonance. Ugh. There is so much stuff going on here competing for lead melody. Peak emo right there. Harmonized cartridge. Yeah, I like the guitar line when it's harmonized. So there's at least four lines there, unless they're using some very wide choir effect. You can't end on that. Yeah, so that was. Yeah, that was a massive trip through the all, every stereotype of emo post-hardcore type of music. They almost made it to the end, but they still got in a blah. So, oh, it caught me. I really thought they were going to get to the end without it. So close. That was the last vocal line too, wasn't it? Oh man. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool things going on here as far as my casual listening goes. It kind of hits on everything I enjoy. Um, Heavy breakdowns, uh, multiple vocalists, harmonizing harshes, mixing harshes with cleans, strong falsetto work. The only thing that was really missing, I would say, would be very strong chest vocals. It just really wasn't there. But I guess I'm trying to think of other bands like this, and I guess usually there is a nice mix of head and chest for almost all the vocalists. So yeah, I guess it would have been out of stereotype for the genre a little bit. Um, yeah, so like if you, I think here's my big problem. If you hadn't have told me that this was two bands and just played it for me, I don't know that I would have guessed it. A lot of their vocal styles are very similar, especially the two clean vocalists, the one from each band. They both of their clean vocals are very similar. The two harsh vocalists are very similar. So I think what really gets me is that we have all of these instruments here and they're not being utilized. I feel like there's a lot of doubling up on parts. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised to find out that the studio version either doesn't have everybody's instrument playing, or everybody's kind of given half volume to accommodate for the four guitars or whatever that are present, and the two bass and the two drums, because the song doesn't feel any wider for having all these people here. Um, I mentioned, I think it was Cult of Luna that we checked out recently. They had two drummers, and I really focused in on that for a while because it was phenomenal how they utilized that. They had 8 limbs to work with in drum kit stuff, and they really pushed what drum parts could be without the limitation of only being able to play 4 distinct things at any time. And here, this is the exact opposite. We have two drummers, um, and I only ever saw one at a time. I noticed that the set only really accommodated the one, so maybe that was an issue with the music video where the set just wasn't large enough for that. But I also never really heard any drum parts that couldn't be played by a single person. It almost feels like the drum part was doubled. And that kind of goes for everything else. We have 4 guitarists and 2 bassists here, and it feels like we have one or two guitar parts and a bass part, and everything's just being doubled up on. The only part that I really feel was successfully utilized, which is very fortunate for the theme this week, is the vocals. The red shirt team, If I Die First, they have three vocalists. They have their lead, they have their backup who tends to do the cleans, and then their guitarist. I saw him on the mic once or twice. I know the dude can sing because, like I mentioned, he did vocals for the Human Abstract's third album, but he didn't seem to sing too often. But that's at least three vocalists on their side. And on SeeYouSpaceCowboy side, they have at least two vocalists, the lead and then the clean. And there was definitely a lot of width in vocal layering. There was a lot of variety in vocal combinations, and there's a lot of overlapping where the end of one vocal line would start to taper off and the start of the other would pick up and they would overlap a little bit. And I just, there was so much attention to the vocals in this song and really utilizing multiple vocalists to their max, really making sure that every single vocal style and delivery could make it in here. And there's just so much variety between the growls, the screams, the fries, the distorted cleans, the regular cleans, the falsetto cleans. Just it's so good to hear so many different styles utilized, and it, well, for better or worse, it drives the song forward. A lot of the energy and atmosphere come from the instruments, but not a lot of the musical ingenuity. I feel like a lot of the interesting aspects are solely in the vocals, which is okay for the genre. I tend to see that the vocals are highlighted. They tend to have sort of a pop idea where there aren't too many instrumental sections and the vocals really are the highlight of most songs that fit into the genre. So it makes sense that that is what got a lot of the attention when writing this song. Um, but that's, I mean, those criticisms come from more of a critical side. I don't know if you noticed, but I was jamming along most of this track. I will be listening to this quite a few times, just casually having it on and jamming out because it is a fantastic track to just put on and listen to. And like I said, the vocal variety does drive a lot of the song forward. I think they did a fantastic job with that. I just feel like the opportunity from a critical angle was massively underutilized because of the lack of instrumental diversity and really utilizing four guitars, two basses, and two drums, two drum kits to do anything that half of that couldn't have done. And I think that's just a shame that you get so many people together and then just really don't utilize the opportunity to its fullest. Although, actually, now that thinking about it, I suppose it kind of runs into the same thing I mentioned earlier, that any sort of added complexity to the writing to accommodate so many instruments would kind of go against some of the core stereotypical ideas of the genre. It would be like if you took, I don't know, if you take pop and you happen to have, you know, five or six instruments to really play around with and you write some complex music, is the end result pop or is it prog pop? And then you start entering into ideas of, is this what I want to make? Is this my intended audience and stuff like that? So if both of these groups just wanted to write a really killer post-hardcore song together, this is definitely the way to go about it. The wasted potential of the situation is more of me just being, more of a classical composer who likes to enjoy heavily layered, very complex written music. And it's not every day you get to see two rock groups come together and form such a group like this. So it's not necessarily a wasted opportunity on their part because they produced what they wanted to make. It's just that it doesn't happen all the time. And I see potential there. If we had bands coming together and making this type of supergroup all the time, and we had a vast variety of stuff from something as simple as this that focuses mostly on vocal variety to bands at the top level who are making these complex classical masterpieces with modern instruments, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with this because we already have variety in this type of situation. But the situation is so rare that I would want more out of it because we don't see this all the time. So that's more of a situational and bias aspect. So I guess I should clarify that. This is a wasted potential in my eyes, but it's not a wasted potential in their eyes because, like I stated, they went and did exactly what they sought to do, and I can't discredit them for that. So those are my thoughts on See You Space Cowboy and If I Die First on their collab Bloodstained Eyes. This is where you guys come and hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not. Let me know if you agree with me or not. Do you think that they should have done more, or do you think that that might have gone too far in a direction that they weren't aiming for? And I have never heard of either of these bands. I was actually really confused to see I don't want to keep calling him the from first to last guitarist, but I really can't think of his name, which is, I think it's Travis. I'm gonna look this up real quick because, like I said, I kind of hate just referring him to where he's been. Travis Richter. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Travis. Let me pull up a picture real quick. Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember. Oh yeah, despite Travis Richter being in If I Die First, I actually have not heard of either of these bands before this collab. So if you're a fan of either, hit me up with some suggestions there. When you're done commenting, there's a description box above that with some links adjacent to the channel, stuff like Twitter, Discord, Patreon, any way that you want to continue your involvement with the Critical Reaction community, whether that means supporting the channel or just joining in conversation through one of the social media avenues. Another way to support the channel is to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Those buttons are beneath the description box. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, with this weekend's special selection, which I'm pretty excited about. Until next time, remember to be critical, but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.